The business of renown. How not to overpay for what you want. In business, people don't just buy your product, they buy your reputation. And if you're not careful, you'll end up overpaying simply because no one knows your name. Let me tell you a short story. A young swordsmith in a village spent months crafting the finest blade he'd ever made. Perfect balance, flawless steel, the kind of weapon legends are made of. He takes it to the capital city, full of hope, and offers it to the king. The king looks it over, nods approvingly, and then says, "Who are you again?" The boy is confused. "Just a swordsmith from the north," he says. That same afternoon, a well-known blacksmith from the city arrives. His sword isn't as good. The king buys it on the spot. Why? Not because it was better, but because the name behind it was. That's renown, and in business, it often outweighs quality, especially early on. Some of you might remember, you never get fired for buying from IBM. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, that's not fair, you're right. The good news, renown is earnable. You can build it piece by piece, and you don't need PR firms or viral fame. You need consistency, clarity, and a few smart moves. I'll come back to these at the end. They're simpler than you think. I learned this the hard way. Years ago, when I worked on the electronic trading desk at State Street Global Markets here in Sydney, it's currencies and commodities is what we primarily did. State Street is a major American investment bank. I was young, but I was carrying the name of a global institution. Back then, if I handed you my card, you'd probably take the meeting. I didn't even have to chase. People would return calls, ask smart questions, invite me to pitch. Why? Because the brand on the card had weight. Then I left to start my own business. Same skills, same person, but a very different card. Suddenly, conversations were harder. People were polite, but slower to reply. Some ghosted entirely. I hadn't changed, but my renown had. And the cost? I had to overcompensate. Longer decks, more discounts, more convincing. All because I no longer had a brand doing the talking for me. Here's what that taught me. Renown is real. It's invisible, but it sits at the table before you even arrive. Without renown, every deal is uphill. You have to give more time, energy, pricing flexibility just to be taken seriously. With renown, the same product or idea gets a very different reception. You don't have to justify your presence. You're assumed to be credible until proven otherwise. In short, renown is leverage, and without it, you're overpaying for access. Years later, I found myself on the other side. After I'd built some traction with Video Translator, gotten coverage in a few industry panels, partnered with public hospital, the calls started coming to me. I'd walk into meetings where they already knew my work. People would say, "I saw your talk," or "We've been following your product." Even though the product hadn't changed overnight, the perception had. Now I was being offered the same opportunities instead of pitching for them. Same product, different renown. Totally different game. So here's the big idea. Renown is business currency, a mix of reputation, visibility, and trust. The more you have, the less hustle you need in every single interaction. When there's a mismatch, like a startup trying to work with the Fortune 500, the smaller player is exposed. You're negotiating with someone who doesn't need the deal while you do. This mismatch is where founders often get burned. Not because your product isn't good, but because your renown isn't strong enough yet. Now, how do we build renown? Tactics that work. The first is document your journey. People trust what they can see in progress. Start a LinkedIn series, What I'm Learning Building X. Share screenshots, learnings, behind the scenes. Use Twitter or LinkedIn to build in public. Second, borrow brand equity. You don't need to be famous. Just stand next to someone who already is. Join accelerators, fellowships, incubators. Collaborate with or get testimonials from known names. Partner with a well-known client or institution and mention it. With permission, of course. Third, be incredibly consistent. Renown compounds, but only if you're findable and repeatable. Pick 1 or 2 platforms and show up weekly. Create a simple one-liner bio that sticks. People remember repetition. Don't disappear for 6 months. Momentum matters more than quality. Point 4, build social proof. People believe other people. Ask every happy customer for a quote, even if it's 1 sentence. Turn wins into stories. We helped client X save time doing Y. Add testimonials to your website, email footer, even your Zoom background. Get on small public stages. That's point number 5. Visibility builds trust, even if it's a local panel or niche podcast. Volunteer to speak at meetups or events. Reach out to podcasts, Nangle, lessons from building in industry X. Share clips of your talks. Short reels go a long way. Lastly, make others win publicly. One of the fastest ways to build renown is to help someone with renown. Helping people generally is probably a good plan because renown compounds in strange ways that often isn't obvious except in hindsight. Promote their work without asking for anything really. Offer value. If you've offered value to someone and it's worked out well, there's a good chance they'll acknowledge you publicly. When people help you out, acknowledge them publicly. It's an ecosystem. In closing, if you're just starting out, remember this. You might not have renown yet, but you can build it, and you don't need permission. Don't ignore renown mismatch. If someone has vastly more renown than you, relationships being transactional means why would they transact with you unless there's a really good reason to do so? You have to build that reason or you have to build renown, right? Don't take it personally, but when there is this mismatch, you can walk away and therefore avoid overpaying. But either way, start building now. Your future self will thank you. Thanks so much for listening.